And joining me now is Pam Palmater. She's the Indigenous Governance Chair with Ryerson University. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I want to start with your reaction to Cleveland's name change.
Long past time that sports outlets, businesses, schools, teams get rid of these mascots, namesakes, logos that really are disrespectful and in many cases racist towards Indigenous people. So this is a positive move.
It's a positive move. And what sort of an impact do you see this have on several of the conversations going on where cities' names are concerned, street names are concerned, institutions are named after, of course, some of the controversial leaders?
Well, I think this is really important, especially when you're talking about, not like the everyday leaders, but leaders that had controlling minds or significant influence over a wide variety of genocidal policies. So you see this particularly in universities where they are changing the names of buildings, the names of programs, sponsorships, and things like that to be more in line with the spirit and intent of reconciliation, which is no longer celebrating genocide against Indigenous peoples and really trying to find a better path forward.
You know, there are many who would be, for example, in this case, Pam, who are diehard fans of the team. In other cases, of course, there could be institutions, etc., alumni who would say that changing the name is not something that will change the attitude towards the real issue. What do you say to those people?
Well, I think they're really just speaking from their own personal experience. Maybe it won't change their particular attitude, but the less racist and disrespectful symbols we have in our society that portray Native peoples in such a bad light, then we won't be teaching the next generation and the next generation and the next generation to just adopt these attitudes. The problem is these symbols have become normalized such that people will fight to protect them. The only way to undo that damage for future generations is to make sure we get rid of these racist symbols.
Let me talk to you about Ryerson University. You are, of course, at Ryerson, where there have been ongoing conversations about the name and the legacy of Egerton Ryerson. So what conversations are happening on that front?
Well, Ryerson University has been engaged in an engagement process with staff, faculty, students, and the local community about what to do about Ryerson in general in terms of Ryerson statue, Ryerson name itself, programs, curriculum, all of that kind of content. And they're doing that in response to the Truth and Reconciliation report. So the big issue now is what they're going to do about Ryerson itself, the name. And so a report is supposed to be coming out this September, sometime in the fall, to say what have they heard from community members, what have they heard from Indigenous peoples about what the path forward should be.
And that coincides with the time when students get back. Do you see that sort of having an effect or more, chorus joining in support for change of the name?
Oh, of course, because when you look at students and young people are leading the way for change. You see a generation of people who no longer want to put up with racism, sexism, homophobia, destruction of the planet. They care very deeply about issues that impact people. And students are so full of energy. They're learning everything that they might not have learned in their K-12 education. And they are often leaders themselves leading these movements. So I think once you see that the fall return, after everything that's happened, universities all across the country are going to have to respond to, a change in social norms.
Pam Palmater is the Indigenous Governance Chair with Ryerson University. Thank you for your time, Pam.
Thank you.